On the city wall, when the kidnappers forced Edmund Xiao to choose between me and his first love, he picked her. To make him regret it, I acted on impulse and jumped off the wall. I didn't die, but I was left half paralyzed. I thought Edmund Xiao would be overwhelmed with grief, his hair turning white overnight for me. But he only said coldly, "Since you're crippled, give up the princess consort position to Iris." On the day he married Iris Song, I died of hatred on my sickbed. With mice and bedbugs crawling around my useless legs, when I opened my eyes again, I was reborn on that fateful day of choice. Edmund Xiao still chose to save Iris Song. After shooting the assassins, he looked at me, waiting for me to throw a tantrum, weep, or threaten suicide. Let Iris Song go, she has a heart condition and can't stand shock. As soon as Edmund Xiao finished speaking, the kidnappers pushed Iris Song off the city wall. Edmund Xiao leaped off his horse, caught Iris Song, and held her tightly in his arms. Originally, the kidnappers had hidden behind Iris and me, so Edmund Xiao didn't dare act rashly. The moment Iris Song was out of danger, Edmund Xiao immediately ordered his men to shoot arrows. Arrows filled the sky, raining down recklessly on the kidnappers and me. The archers intentionally avoided me, but the dense shower of arrows inevitably brushed past my body. The arrows killed the kidnappers on the wall, tore my robes to shreds, and messed up my hair bun. Tied hand and foot, I was like a human target with no way to dodge. Meanwhile, Iris Song huddled in Edmund Xiao's arms like a frightened rabbit. Edmund Xiao carefully shielded her with his cloak, worried the scene would scare her. Finally, seeing all was lost, the leader of the kidnappers grabbed the back of my neck, intending to use me as a shield. "Prince Ning, you don't even care about your princess consort's life." Before he could finish, Edmund Xiao had already drawn his longbow to the full, aiming directly for the leader's neck, the fatal spot. In the blink of an eye, the sharp arrow passed by the side of my neck, piercing the leader's Adam's apple and slashing the flesh on my neck. Blood gushed out instantly. As a former herbalist, I could feel that the arrow had missed my vital artery by just a hair's breadth. If it had deviated even a little, I would have died with the kidnapper. Edmund Xiao seemed to be saving me, but he didn't take my life seriously at all. In my previous life, this arrow had chilled my heart. Watching him hold the unharmed Iris Song tightly, overcome with anger and a desire to see him regret it, I had jumped off the wall myself. Edmund Xiao was brave and skilled in battle. He had caught Iris Song when the kidnappers pushed her, but he hadn't been able to catch me when I jumped. That fall shattered my bones and spilled my blood everywhere. I had thought I would see Edmund Xiao roar in grief, confessing that he should have chosen to save me. But when I woke up, all I got from him was, "I could have saved you, but you jumped on your own. Who's to blame?" I was left half paralyzed. The imperial doctor said I would never walk again and would suffer from illness for the rest of my life. I had imagined Edmund Xiao would regret it so much that his hair would turn white overnight, kneeling by my bed begging for forgiveness, but instead, he brought Iris Song to me, holding her hand, and said coldly, "Since you're crippled, let Iris have the princess consort position." I roared in anger and resentment, but he reprimanded me sharply. "Violet Lu, have you made enough trouble? The prince's mansion will support you for the rest of your life. You won't lack food or shelter." The mansion got a new mistress, and the servants curried favor with the powerful. On the day Edmund Xiao married Iris Song, I died in agony in the attic of the inner courtyard. The only companions in my final moments were mice and bedbugs breeding in the decay of my legs. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on that day, tied to the city wall facing the choice. The kidnappers were all dead, and the soldiers were cheering for the prince's archery skills. Under everyone's gaze, I looked as if I had been violated by the arrow rain, my clothes disheveled, my hair messy. I met Edmund Xiao's probing eyes. He seemed to be waiting for me to cry and make a scene. I, Violet Lu, was also the apple of the eye of the Lu family, a military clan. This marriage to Edmund Xiao was a royal grant I had begged for, using the military achievements of my father and elder brother. Edmund Xiao had originally intended to marry Iris Song of the Marquis's mansion, but unfortunately, the Marquis's mansion had been involved in a major corruption case and was confiscated, with its members imprisoned. Unable to marry his beloved, Edmund Xiao had settled for me, who was eager to marry him. Shortly after our marriage, Edmund Xiao had taken Iris Song, who was of slave status, into the mansion. Iris had a heart condition, often clutching her chest like Shi Shi, a famous beauty in ancient China, making Edmund Xiao worry endlessly. I had thought Edmund Xiao liked delicate, sickly beauties, so I jumped into the lotus pond every now and then, or deliberately fell from trees, using self-harm to gain a little of his favor. At that moment, looking at me, Edmund Xiao thought I would resort to my old tricks again, crying, throwing a fit, or threatening suicide, but instead, I cherished my life and covered the bleeding wound on my neck. Walking calmly down the dangerous high platform of the city wall, Edmund Xiao hurried to stop me, looking somewhat uneasy. On the wall just now, I was really afraid you'd act on impulse and jump. Edmund Xiao really did understand my temperament. He knew I liked to risk my life for his attention. So he thought he could trample on my sincerity at will, covering the blood on my neck. I sneered. "Prince, were you afraid I'd jump? Or were you hoping I would?" Edmund Xiao's expression darkened. "What do you mean by that? Just because I didn't choose you, you dare to speak to me with such sarcasm?" "I dare not, Your Highness. I was confident I could save both of you. Iris is weak and ill. She can't stand shock. Unlike you, a willful young lady from a military family, she only has me." Edmund Xiao defended himself sharply, as if guilty. In the past, I would have argued with him again, but now, I only found the man's chatter annoying. I bowed my head respectfully and said demurely, "You're right to scold me, Your Highness. Thank you for saving my life." Edmund Xiao was stunned. Reaching out to check my wound, I lowered my eyes and turned slightly, subtly avoiding his hand. "Thank you for your concern, Your Highness. The wound is an inch away from my vital artery. I won't die." Edmund Xiao said, "Send for the imperial doctor to examine the princess consort." "It's all my fault." Iris Song spoke up apologetically. "Your Highness, you shouldn't have chosen to save me just now. The princess consort is your legal wife. She's hurt so badly because of me. I deserve to die 100 deaths to atone for my sin." As she cried, she began clutching her chest, sobbing weakly. But on the city wall just now, after Edmund Xiao chose to save her, she had thrown me a line. "Princess consort, if we both fell, guess who the prince would choose to catch?" The loved one acts with impunity, even at the moment of life and death. She hadn't forgotten to provoke me confidently. In my previous life, her words had enraged me. Seeing Edmund Xiao catch her immediately after she was pushed off the wall, I had acted on impulse, really wanting to use my life to prove that Edmund Xiao cared about me. In the end, I was left crippled. Before I died in my previous life, Iris Song had come to see me one last time in her wedding dress. She smiled triumphantly. "Violet Liu, I only casually provoked you that day. I never thought you'd take it seriously. Now that your legs are useless, the prince's mansion is my world." Iris Song's distorted face overlapped with her innocent look now. At that moment, the imperial doctor arrived. Seeing I had lost a lot of blood, he immediately prepared to treat my wound. But Edmund Xiao suddenly pulled the doctor away. "Check on Iris first. She's probably shocked and about to faint." While everyone gathered around Iris Song, I tore a piece of cloth from my dress, roughly bandaged the wound on my neck, and then walked alone toward the palace. Along the way, many people stared and whispered. At the moment of life and death, Prince Ning would have let his princess consort die to protect another woman. Serves the Liu family right. She insisted on marrying Prince Ning against his will. You can't force love. Now she's tasting the bitterness of it. She brought it on herself. She doesn't deserve sympathy. Don't say that, she's pitiful. If I were the princess consort, I'd want to die. They were right to scold me. I really had brought it on myself. But I wouldn't seek death again. I wanted to live healthily and with dignity. Covering my wound, I felt the pain Edmund Xiao had brought me. That pain made me more awake than ever. I walked to the palace gate, embarrassed but resolute. I had once treated the Empress Dowager's health. If her headache flared up at night, I could enter the palace without a summons. But the palace guards still stopped me, Princess Consort Ning, to enter the palace to see the Empress Dowager. You must be neatly dressed and free of bloodstains. A warm cloak was timely draped over my shoulders, covering my embarrassment. I turned around and saw that it was Prince Rui, Alaric Xiao, who had given me the cloak. Alaric Xiao was the son of the noble consort, handsome and graceful. Unfortunately, he had fallen into an icy pond in his early years, damaging his health foundation, and had been weak and sickly ever since, in the intrigue of the battle for the throne. Alaric Xiao had no sense of presence. The reason I could remember him was that after I died a tragic death in my previous life and the Liu family was also destroyed by Edmund Xiao, the only person who pleaded my innocence was Alaric Xiao, someone I had never even interacted with. He accused Edmund Xiao of killing his wife, but Edmund Xiao replied, "The Liu woman jumped off the city wall herself and died of serious injuries. What does that have to do with me?" Later, Alaric Xiao got drunk and lost his composure in front of my tomb, yelling at me fiercely, "Violet Liu, you're brainless. Destroying your own body just to prove a scoundrel's sincerity, you're extremely foolish." He was so angry that he coughed up blood, scolding me weakly, "When I saved your life back then, did I do it so you could mope around and seek death over a man? I saved you for nothing." His scolding was harsh, making my lingering vengeful spirit bow in shame. I didn't understand when he had saved my life. I was truly afraid to see him so enraged. But then I heard him cry, leaning against the tombstone. He wept bitterly. I should also thank him for one thing. He erased the prefix Princess Consort Ning from my tombstone, at least letting me cut off all ties with Edmund Xiao after death. Now, seeing Alaric Xiao, I felt an inexplicable fear of him. What happened on the city wall had spread far and wide. And I was afraid he would scold me for not cherishing myself, just like he did in my previous life. This weak and sickly prince could be really fierce when he scolded people. But Alaric Xiao only gave me his warm cloak to keep out the cold. In front of the Empress Dowager, you must not lose your dignity. Thank you for the reminder, Prince Rui. I bowed. Alaric Xiao stared at the wound on my neck, where blood had long soaked through the bandage. I said, "It's nothing. Let the blood flow like this. Let the nobles in the palace see it." Alaric Xiao's hand, which had almost stretched out from his sleeve, clenched tightly in restraint. His amber eyes darkened, and his emotions were unreadable. With his signal, the guards finally let me pass. As I walked into the palace gate, I couldn't help but glance back at Alaric Xiao. His back was as straight as when he pleaded my innocence in my previous life, and as thin as when he cried bitterly in front of my tomb. I turned around and entered the palace, not noticing that Alaric Xiao had also looked back at me. I entered Yongshou Palace, knelt down, and saluted the Empress Dowager. As I moved, the wound on my neck was exposed, and blood with a strange fragrance oozed out. The Empress Dowager smelled the scent and was shocked. A year ago, the Empress Dowager was poisoned by an assassin sent from the western regions. A woman was found to taste all kinds of poisons for her, and finally, hemp herb was found to be used as medicine to save her life. After the Empress Dowager narrowly escaped death, her blood also emitted an exotic fragrance. The only other person in the world with the same scent was the woman who had tested the poisons for her back then. "You were the one who saved me," the Empress Dowager suddenly realized, helping me up personally. "Good child, why didn't you tell me? Back then, I had merit for testing the poisons, but Edmund Xiao had concealed my identity. He said that the Prince Ning's mansion was already the target of everyone's criticism. If I, as the princess consort, attracted more attention, it would make him jealous and secretly harmed by other princes. I loved him deeply back then, obeyed him unconditionally, and never flaunted this merit. But in my previous life, after I was crippled, Edmund Xiao took Iris Song to the Empress Dowager and falsely claimed the merit of testing the poisons. With this merit, he erased Iris Song's slave status and made her the legitimate princess consort. This time, I had to get there first. I knelt down, Empress Dowager. 2 years ago, this servant used the military achievements of the Liu family to beg you to grant me a marriage to the Prince Ning's mansion. Now, I want to use the merit of testing the poisons to beg you to allow me to divorce Prince Ning. Edmund Xiao. There were no secrets in the imperial city. What happened on the city wall had already spread into the palace. The Empress Dowager sighed. I will grant your wish. After the Emperor's birthday banquet in 3 days, I will issue an edict for your divorce. It was late at night when I returned to the mansion. Unexpectedly, Edmund Xiao was waiting for me. You went to the palace. I went to the imperial hospital to ask my master for some medicine. My medical skills were taught by Imperial Physician Yi, the director of the Imperial Hospital. Edmund Xiao said. Imperial Physician Yi is a medical sage. You really cherish your life. Another day, ask Imperial Physician Yi to check on Iris too. She was greatly shocked today and I just managed to lull her to sleep. I said coldly. Master said that after feeling her pulse, she couldn't find any signs of a heart condition in Iris Song. She doesn't know how to treat a non-existent illness. She's your master, so of course she's biased towards you. All you want to say is that Iris is faking her illness. Can't I tell if she's faking it? She was so scared today that she almost fainted. I listened quietly as Edmund Xiao defended Iris Song, such a shrewd man. Yet he was willing to play dumb in Iris Song's deception. Perhaps this was how Edmund Xiao truly loved someone. Edmund Xiao had never seen such coldness in my eyes. He softened his tone and took the initiative to explain. I spoke too harshly today. Don't take it to heart. The imperial doctor said Iris needs to rest quietly. Please take good care of her these days. I thought of my previous life and smiled. If you like her so much, why not take her as your concubine? Iris doesn't want to be the princess consort. She only wants to stay with me forever. She doesn't care about status at all. Oh, really? Edmund Xiao's tone turned gentle. Violet, to tell you the truth, when Iris was pushed off the city wall today, my heart felt like it was breaking. If something had really happened to her, I wouldn't have wanted to live either. How affectionate you are, Your Highness. If I had fallen off the city wall, would you have caught me too? If I had died, would your heart have broken as well? Edmund Xiao replied without hesitation. Of course I would. Lie. After this incident, I realized that I can't live without Iris. But Iris Song is of slave status. To give her an official status, she first needs merit to revoke her slave status. Edmund Xiao covered the back of my hand. Violet, can you let Iris have the great merit of testing the poisons for the Empress Dowager back then? Truly, one must stay healthy and alive. If I had been paralyzed in bed like in my previous life, Edmund Xiao wouldn't have even asked. He would have directly taken Iris Song to the palace to falsely claim the merit. But now that I was safe and sound, if he wanted his beloved to steal my merit, he had to be wary of my legs that could enter the palace and my mouth that could report him. He had to ask for my permission first. If Iris Song needs it, not only this merit, but even the princess consort position, I can give it up. I said generously. You know, I'll listen to you about anything. Edmund Xiao was very happy. He leaned over and kissed my forehead. Violet, you've grown up. In the past, I would have been overjoyed by his initiative to show affection, but at this moment, my eyes were cold, and Edmund Xiao didn't notice at all. He had planned everything for Iris Song. At father's birthday banquet in 3 days, I will take Iris Song to claim the merit of testing the poisons. At that time, You just need to keep quiet and be a witness. All right, Your Highness. I will definitely fulfill your wish. He didn't know that today, the Empress Dowager had already officially reported my merit of testing the poisons to the Emperor. As long as Edmund Xiao dared to take Iris' song to falsely claim it at the birthday banquet, the two of them would be guilty of deceiving the Emperor. Edmund Xiao was a prince, he wouldn't die. But Iris' song, a criminal slave, falsely claiming such a great merit, would be enough to have her entire clan executed again. I didn't die falling off the city wall, so someone else deserved to die instead. 3 days later, before entering the palace, Iris' song specially thanked me in front of Edmund Xiao. I am a convicted person, and I never dared to hope for any status by the prince's side, but after what happened on the city wall, at the moment of life and death, I finally saw my true feelings for the prince. She said with tears in her eyes, "Love always breeds greed. I am fortunate to have the prince's favor, and I also thank the princess consort for your kindness." Leaning her delicate body slightly, she bowed deeply to me. How dignified and graceful she was, reminding people that before her family fell, she was also worthy of being Prince Ning's legal wife. In my previous life, before entering the palace to falsely claim the merit, Iris' song had also come to see me alone. At that time, I was paralyzed in bed, my body dirty and messy due to the maid's perfunctory care. As soon as Iris' song entered the room, she covered her nose in disgust, a single gesture more humiliating than 1,000 insults. She said, "Do you know what the prince is taking me to the palace for today? The merit of testing the poisons for the Empress Dowager that you earned back then will soon be mine." At that time, the Liu family had been involved in a major case of embezzling military pay, and the entire family was imprisoned. I had planned to use this merit to beg the Empress Dowager to retry the Liu family's case. My only trump card was taken by Edmund Xiao to please Iris' song. I tried to resist angrily, wanting to stop her from entering the palace, but my paralyzed body stiffly fell off the bed. Watching my embarrassment, Iris' song suddenly spun around, stretching her limbs gracefully. "Princess consort, during the days you've been paralyzed, I've danced for the prince every day. The prince said he likes my flexible figure." She bent down triumphantly, lifting my chin with her finger. "In bed, the prince also likes healthy women. You know he always likes to play tricks. A playful man won't like a cripple who can't take care of herself." That was when I learned that Iris' song's heart condition was just an act to gain Edmund Xiao's sympathy. I faked being sick just to trick you into hurting yourself. Finally, I tricked you into jumping off the city wall and becoming a cripple, Violet Liu. Now you're also a delicate, sickly beauty. But has the prince ever looked at you? Has he lost sleep at night worrying about your injuries? Has he personally boiled medicine for you? Has he searched the whole country for famous doctors for you? No, Iris' song boasted triumphantly, but he's done all these things for me. Princess consort, your husband has given his heart to me, and that great merit of yours in curing the Empress Dowager is mine too. She swaggered away. I wailed and crawled toward the door, but my stiff, paralyzed body couldn't even make it past the threshold. I collapsed to the ground in despair, enduring until nightfall until an imperial edict arrived. The edict praised Iris' song for her great merit in testing poisons for the Empress Dowager, allowing her to atone for her crimes and conferring upon her the title of Countess Jiaqing. The edict went on to state, "The Liu woman is crippled. The Liu family's corruption case is conclusive. Demote her from princess consort to concubine, promote Countess Jiaqing to princess consort, and let her marry Prince Ning on a selected date." Overnight, Iris' song, the daughter of a convicted official, trampled over me and gained both status and fame. This was how Edmund Xiao cared for someone he truly loved, planning everything so meticulously for her. In this life, Edmund Xiao was up to his old tricks again. It seemed like he respected me more. But no, it was actually fear that held him back. He pretended to ask for my opinion, But in truth, if I refused, he would have found a way to make me give in one way or another. Iris Song maintained her bowing posture. Such a formal bow required the recipient to help the giver up for it to be considered proper. I stood motionless, simply watching as Iris Song bowed low before me. Edmund Xiao looked displeased. Princess consort, Iris is still unwell. I smiled. Your Highness. You feel sorry for Iris Song having to endure this bow just to take what's mine? Edmund Xiao was lost for words. At that moment, Iris Song stumbled and fell straight into Edmund Xiao's arms. She hastily apologized. Please forgive me, Princess consort. I'm weak and ill-fated. I have no ill intentions. I let out a cold laugh. I wonder if someone as ill-fated as you is worthy of such a great merit of saving the royal family. At the birthday banquet, after several rounds of wine, the princes and princesses offered their birthday wishes to the emperor in order of age. Married princes were accompanied by their legal wives, and princesses by their husbands. On such occasions, only the legal spouse was ever in attendance. Everyone was paired up, living in harmony. Only Edmund Xiao arrived with two people, with me, his princess consort, on his left, and Iris Song, who wasn't even a concubine, on his right. He went to offer his wishes to the emperor. Everyone's attention fell on Iris Song. Whispers spread through the crowd, saying that it was for this Song woman that Prince Ning had abandoned his wife's life without a second thought. The emperor, who had been warm and approachable, wore a strange expression. The Empress Dowager's face darkened. Edmund Xiao, what are you doing bringing a convicted slave to such a formal event? Father, grandmother, though Iris Song is a convicted criminal, she has actually performed an extraordinary merit, she just never boasted about it. Iris Song put on a cold and indifferent demeanor, pretending to be someone who did good deeds without seeking recognition. The Empress Dowager raised an eyebrow. Is that so? To have such a great merit and keep it to oneself, do tell us about it. Grandmother, a year ago you were poisoned by a rare toxin from the western regions, and no antidote could be found. Then a woman stepped forward, tasting countless herbs for you, and finally discovered hemp herb, the rare medicine that cured your severe illness. That's true, the Emperor said, glancing in my direction. The woman who tested the poisons was someone by your... That's right, Edmund Xiao cut him off eagerly. That woman is the one by my side, Iris Song. The Emperor's face flickered with anger, but Edmund Xiao didn't notice. Anxious to claim the merit for his beloved, he went on, when grandmother's condition was critical. Iris Song stepped forward. She said as a convicted criminal, she was willing to test the poisons for you. If she succeeded, she would atone for her crimes. If not, she would die without regret to save you. After succeeding, she didn't fight for recognition or speak of it to anyone. Edmund Xiao continued. As I'm sure you all know, a few days ago, bandits caused chaos, and I nearly lost Iris Song. Facing life and death made me realize my true feelings. So even though Iris Song refuses to take credit, I must make her merit known to the world today. I also beg Father for a favor, revoke Iris Song's criminal status and let me give her an official position. He was so absorbed in his affection for Iris Song that he completely ignored how embarrassing it was for me, his legal wife, to stand beside him. Once, this would have broken my heart and filled me with anger, but now, I simply watched Edmund Xiao put on his show. My anger couldn't hurt Edmund Xiao's interests, but the Emperor's anger certainly could. The more calm and sensible I remained, the more absurd and muddle-headed Edmund Xiao appeared. The Emperor's voice turned stern. If this is Iris Song's merit, why are you the only one speaking? Let her answer for herself. Iris Song quickly replied, Your Majesty, Empress Dowager, I was indeed the one who tested the poisons back then. The Empress Dowager asked. Your entire family was convicted and their estates seized. Why did you not resent the royal family, but instead risk your life to test poisons for me? The Song family's crimes have long been pardoned by your Majesty's grace. I dare not harbor any resentment. I only wanted to save you, Empress Dowager. To atone for my sins. How magnanimous and sensible you are. The Empress Dowager praised her, then suddenly changed the subject. Tell me, when the poison testing came to an end, only 3 herbs remained. What were they? After testing countless herbs, Imperial Physician Yi finally selected 3 slightly toxic ones: white herb, brown black herb, and hemp herb. She planned to cure the toxin with other toxins. Iris Song replied, presumptuous. The Empress Dowager thundered, how dare you lie to me? Guilty to begin with. Iris Song was so frightened by the rebuke that she knelt straight down on the ground. Imperial Physician Yi stepped forward. When the testing concluded, besides hemp herb, the other 2 herbs left were ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum. That's right. It was ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum I misremembered. Iris Song quickly backtracked. Her words triggered an uproar in the hall. Imperial Physician Yi scoffed. Ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum are both highly nourishing. Why would we need you to test them for toxins? Miss Song must have lost her mind to dare falsely claim such a great merit in front of the Emperor. Only then did Iris Song realize she had fallen into a trap. Edmund Xiao turned to stare at me sharply. When Iris Song had decided to steal the merit, Edmund Xiao had forced me to tell him every detail of that day. But who said I would tell them the truth? Iris Song's lie was exposed without effort. Edmund Xiao scrambled to fix the situation. Father. Grandmother. Iris is weak and has a poor memory. She must have mixed things up. I was with her when she tested the poisons. I can testify that it was Iris Song who did it for you. Grandmother. The Empress Dowager retorted. Then tell us, what were the 3 herbs left that day? It was. Edmund Xiao was stuck for words. A year ago, when the Empress Dowager was gravely ill, Edmund Xiao had reunited with Iris Song. The 2 had rekindled their old romance. Sticking together like glue and unable to bear being apart for a moment. Though the Empress Dowager was ill, Edmund Xiao couldn't bear to restrain himself. While I was testing the poisons that day, he had been boating on the lake with Iris Song, indulging in their passion without a care. When he returned, I had been pale and weak, my face turning blue from the conflicting effects of the toxins in my body. At the sight of me, Edmund Xiao had actually looked disgusted, saying I looked like a female ghost. He'd even covered Iris Song's eyes, afraid I would scare her. Later, after I found the antidote, Edmund Xiao had warned me not to tell anyone. It was just a few poisons. Do you really think this is some great merit? He'd sneered. Soon after, he'd snapped out of pique. I've won battles and never acted so arrogant. What are you so proud of? Little did he know, his victories had all been backed by the Lu family's army. With strategies devised by my father and elder brother, he had no right to be arrogant at all. When the Empress Dowager recovered, the Emperor was overjoyed and rewarded Imperial Physician Yi and the rest of the Imperial Hospital. Edmund Xiao had panicked then, coming to cajole me. If the palace finds out you tested the poisons, the Prince Ning mansion will become even more of a target. For the sake of the mansion's peace, Violet Lu, you must keep this a secret. I had been so foolish back then, obeying him without hesitation. He had been so cruel to me, and now he couldn't even tell a proper lie. Spit it out. What were the herbs? The Empress Dowager stared at him, furious at his incompetence. Or are you so desperate to protect this unworthy woman that you dare to deceive the Emperor for her? I dare not. I truly dare not. Edmund Xiao panicked, turning to me for help. The princess consort was there that day. She took care of Iris Song after the poison testing. Princess consort. You can testify it was Iris Song who tested the poisons for grandmother, wasn't it? I remained silent, my heart cold as stone. Edmund Xiao panicked. Speak up. Have you lost your tongue? As soon as the words left his mouth, he regretted them. He was used to speaking harshly to me in the prince's mansion. And now, in front of the Emperor, he had revealed his true colors. Before Edmund Xiao could make amends, I suddenly knelt down before him, tears welling up in my eyes, and said, "Grievances, Your Highness, I've already agreed to let your beloved take the merit of testing the poisons. What more do you want from me? I had always been competitive in front of others, having died once and seen Iris Song's tricks as a delicate, sickly beauty. I had picked up a thing or two from her, with tears glistening in my eyes, a face full of grievance, and a timid gaze looking up at Edmund Xiao. I put on a perfect act of being gentle, innocent, and forced to endure injustice. Everyone in the hall, those who knew me, knew I must have suffered unspeakable wrongs. Those who didn't, seeing a legitimate princess consort being bullied so openly, naturally spoke ill of Edmund Xiao and his lover, calling him absurd. The Empress Dowager knew my grievances best. "Edmund Xiao, do you forget that today is your father's 50th birthday? Bringing such an unworthy woman to your father and openly deceiving the emperor, what are you plotting? Grandmother, please calm your anger." Edmund Xiao knelt down in panic to apologize. I also pleaded for him, "Empress Dowager, don't blame His Highness, he is just trapped by love." "Trapped by love is no excuse for deceiving the emperor," the Empress Dowager said. "Violet Lu, you are far too kind-hearted, letting such a woman bully you to your face, Emperor. Iris Song falsely claimed great merit and disrespects the royal family. How should she be punished?" The emperor didn't even glance at Iris Song kneeling on the ground, saying casually, "Beat her to death with wooden rods." Iris Song was terrified. "Your Highness, save me." Edmund Xiao knew his father's temperament well. The fewer words he spoke, the more serious the crime. If he pleaded for her now, he might lose the reputation he had worked so hard to build over the years. He didn't dare to beg for mercy. This reaction made Iris Song completely panic. Your Highness, are you abandoning me? You chose me on the city wall, now you're leaving me to die. You told me to claim this merit. It was you who—" "Shut up," Edmund Xiao suddenly shouted at Iris Song. "You've done wrong and dare to slander me." Stunned by his roar, Iris Song fell silent. The guard stepped forward to drag her away for the punishment. Suddenly, Iris Song clutched her stomach and shouted, "I'm pregnant, Your Highness, I'm carrying your child." Upon hearing this, Edmund Xiao immediately stopped the guards. "Is this true, Your Highness? Have you forgotten that night on the painted boat a month ago?" Iris Song caressed her still flat-belly grievance. "I originally wanted to give you a surprise. This child was hard-won, we should cherish it even more." Iris Song's words held a hidden meaning. 3 years ago, Edmund Xiao had been injured while rescuing the emperor, damaging his ability to have children. The imperial doctor had said his health was severely impaired, and he would likely have few heirs. After that, the emperor had valued Edmund Xiao more, as this son had saved his life. But the royal family valued lineage above all. After all, the throne had to be passed down through generations. If Edmund Xiao remained childless, it would be difficult to pass the crown prince position to him. Thus, Iris Song's child was extremely important to Edmund Xiao. The Empress Dowager didn't believe her and ordered Imperial Physician Yi to check Iris Song's pulse. I knew Iris Song was truly pregnant, because after marrying into the prince's mansion, I had been helping Edmund Xiao regulate his health day and night. In my previous life, Iris Song had not only stolen my merit to become a countess, but also told the prince she was pregnant on their wedding day. 3 joys in one. At the peak of Iris Song's glory, I, the crippled one, had been trapped in an overlooked attic, thinking that the child in Iris Song's belly was only possible because of my late nights regulating Edmund Xiao's health. I had felt both ridiculous and sad. Violet Lu, that jump off the city wall of yours, you truly made the perfect wedding dress for this pair of adulterers. After feeling Iris Song's pulse, Imperial Physician Yi said, "Your Majesty, Empress Dowager, Miss Song is indeed 1 month pregnant. If I have a child, I won't die, right? I can rise through the ranks because of my son, can't I?" Having experienced the downfall of her family, Iris Song was terrified of death. Seeing that the emperor hadn't yet spared her, she babbled frantically to save her life. "Your Highness, if I die now, you'll have no heirs. You know your own body best. This child is your only bloodline. Only I can give you children. I know you love me the most. You yourself said you married Violet Liu only to gain the support of the Liu military clan. You used her for power, but your love for me is pure. We spent 3 days and nights together on the painted boat. You chose me on the city wall." Edmund Xiao, "Was all of that a lie?" "That's enough." Iris Song, desperate to survive, was exposing all of Edmund Xiao's secrets. Enraged but constrained by the child in her belly, he could only step forward to cover her mouth, preventing her from speaking further. He then pleaded with the emperor, "Father, for the sake of the royal blood in Song's womb, please spare her crime of deceiving the emperor. If punishment is necessary, please show mercy and delay it until after the child is born." The emperor knew Edmund Xiao had few heirs and said, "The death penalty is revoked, but the living punishment remains." Song dared to falsely claim others' merit to escape her slave status, "So I decree she shall remain a slave for life, never to be freed." This imperial edict shattered Iris Song's dream of rising through her son. Even if she gave birth to 10 sons, she would always be a convicted slave. All her acting as a delicate, sickly beauty had been to gain Edmund Xiao's sympathy and use him to escape her slave status. Now, she was forever branded as a slave, unable to bear the blow. Iris Song rolled her eyes and fainted. Edmund Xiao immediately rushed to hold her. The emperor then turned his gaze to me, afraid the emperor would also hold me accountable. My father quickly stepped forward from his seat to plead, "Your Majesty, Violet Liu is Prince Ning's wife. Since ancient times, the husband is the head of the wife. She had no choice but to obey Prince Ning's orders. Please don't blame her." With the Empress Dowager backing me, the emperor looked at me kindly. "Violet Liu, you have rendered great merit by testing poisons for the Empress Dowager. As a minister, you have been loyal. As a granddaughter-in-law, you have been filial. As a princess consort, you merely obeyed your husband. What crime have you committed? Speak, what reward do you desire?" The Empress Dowager gave me an encouraging look, signaling me to boldly ask for what I deserved. In front of the entire hall, witnessed by all the ministers, I said firmly, "As you all can see, Prince Ning and Miss Song are inseparable, their love unbreakable. A gentleman helps others fulfill their wishes. I am willing to step down from my position. Please, Your Majesty, grant me a divorce from Prince Ning." Edmund Xiao was shocked. "Violet Liu, what nonsense are you talking about, Your Highness? I have never been more sober. You used to risk your life every day just to get me to look at you. Now you want a divorce? Are you playing hard to get, Your Highness?" "I'm sorry for pestering you in the past," I said calmly and resolutely. "Please let me go. We can set each other free." Edmund Xiao realized I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I really wanted to end our marriage. His face turned ugly, and the emperor didn't immediately agree to my request. Edmund Xiao sneered, "Violet Liu, you're such a jealous shrew. Who would want you after you leave the Prince Ning mansion?" Edmund Xiao had hit the nail on the head. The Liu family was the most powerful among the military clans. As the only marriageable daughter of the Liu family, if I married an ordinary minister, it would surely arouse the royal family's suspicion. I could only marry a member of the royal family. This was the fundamental reason I had forced Edmund Xiao to marry me back then. The royal family wanted to use the marriage to win over the military power. A daughter of a military clan marrying into the royal family was an honor, but also a disguised hostage for stability. The emperor hesitated. No matter how great my merit, he couldn't risk his own interests. Determined to burn all bridges, I gritted my teeth and said, "Your Majesty, after the divorce, I am willing to shave my head and become a nun. I only ask to have no further contact with the Prince Ning mansion, in life or death." "Nonsense," my father shouted anxiously. You're in the prime of your life, how can you become a nun? The Empress Dowager also said. Violet Lu, don't toy with your future. I knew full well that becoming a nun was equivalent to ruining my future, but since ancient times, hadn't women always had to suffer greatly to escape a marriage? I had already tasted the agony of being shattered and ruined in my previous life. Was I now afraid of the pain of shaving my head? Edmund Xiao stared at me in disbelief. Violet Lu, do you hate me that much? Whereas the Violet Lu from before, she's dead. I looked back into Edmund Xiao's eyes. You chose her yourself on the city wall. Have you forgotten? What had happened on the city wall had long spread far and wide. It was only at this moment that a trace of genuine guilt for me arose in Edmund Xiao's heart. Why must you make such a fuss? You'll never get a better position than Princess Consort Ning. No member of the royal family will want a jealous, abandoned woman like you. Who says so? A gentle voice interrupted Edmund Xiao. Everyone followed the sound, to their surprise. Prince Rui, Alaric Xiao, who had always avoided conflicts, walked to the center of the hall, bowed deeply to the emperor, and said solemnly, "Father, I am willing to marry Violet Lu as my wife." Edmund Xiao was shocked. Alaric Xiao, what does this have to do with you? Alaric Xiao said. I just saw someone abandoning a pearl for a fish eye. Unbearable to let the pearl be tarnished. I want to pick it up and treasure it. My heart trembled. Could the pearl he was referring to be me? Alaric Xiao knelt with his back to me, so I couldn't see his expression. The emperor's brows relaxed. He only needed a prince to secure the loyalty of the Lu military clan, and he said readily, Violet Lu, are you willing to divorce Edmund Xiao and remarry Alaric Xiao? I hesitated for 2 breaths. Whether it was an illusion or not, during those 2 breaths of hesitation, Alaric Xiao's figure seemed even thinner, like a withering pine tree. This servant is willing to remarry His Royal Highness Prince Rui, as if withered wood blooming in spring. Alaric Xiao's back straightened again, firm and upright like a pine in spring. By the end of the birthday banquet, it was nearly evening. I held 2 imperial edicts in my hand, one for divorce, and one for marriage. Edmund Xiao chased after me. Violet Lu, you will regret this, I sighed. I already do. Edmund Xiao's expression softened, and a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. I smiled and waved the 2 edicts in my hand. I regret not divorcing you sooner. I should have kicked you out a long time ago. You, how dare you? Edmund Xiao raised his hand to hit me, but his wrist was caught mid-air. Alaric Xiao grabbed his wrist and pushed Edmund Xiao away from me. Edmund Xiao had no guard against the sickly Alaric Xiao, and was caught off guard, stumbling 2 steps and falling on his buttocks. Edmund Xiao climbed up from the ground. Alaric Xiao, you will always only pick up what I don't want. At that moment, I clearly saw a surge of killing intent in Alaric Xiao's eyes, completely inconsistent with his weak body. Immediately after, he actually threw a punch, wanting to hit Edmund Xiao. I quickly stopped him. Your Highness, be careful not to lose your dignity in front of the Emperor. Only then did Alaric Xiao stop. At that moment, a palace maid reported that Iris Song had woken up in the side hall and was making a fuss to see Edmund Xiao. In the past, when Iris Song was mentioned, Edmund Xiao's expression would unconsciously soften, but at this moment, upon hearing Iris Song's news, Edmund Xiao's face was filled with genuine irritability. Considering the child in Iris Song's belly, he hurried towards the side hall. As he passed by Alaric Xiao, he stumbled and almost fell face-first into the ground. Alaric Xiao calmly retracted his right foot, which had tripped him. Edmund Xiao was furious and raised his fist to hit him, but finally held back, as if waiting for me to stop him like I had stopped Alaric Xiao. After all, this was outside the Zhengde Hall. Ministers were continuously coming out of the hall, and a single misstep would result in being reported. Edmund Xiao looked at me. Aren't you going to say something? What is there to say? I retorted. I only remind my husband to be careful not to lose his dignity in front of the palace. What are you to me? Edmund Xiao laughed angrily. Violet Lu, you are ruthless enough. He waved his sleeve and left. At that moment, Alaric Xiao suddenly turned around and pulled out my hand that was hidden behind my back. I saw that my right hand had long been clenched into a fist as big as a steamed bun. A playful smile appeared in Alaric Xiao's eyes. What are you doing? I said. If Edmund Xiao dares to touch you, this fist will hit him in the face first, Alaric Xiao said seriously. Princess consort, we must worry about losing dignity in front of the emperor. My cheeks heated up. What did you call me? Princess consort, Alaric Xiao said. Only husband and wife care about each other, not acting on impulse and making mistakes. Right, yes, Alaric Xiao suddenly let out a light, cheerful laugh. And my heart skipped a beat. No wonder Edmund Xiao liked the delicate, sickly iris song. Alaric Xiao's birth mother was the most beautiful and favored concubine in the palace. The emperor had been handsome in his youth. Alaric Xiao, their only son, was born with an otherworldly beauty, elegant and refined. When he smiled, I almost forgot who I was. I thought I had loved Edmund Xiao deeply for years, but it turned out I had just never tasted anything good, with the imperial edict backing me. I successfully got rid of the identity of Princess Consort Ning. On an auspicious day 2 months later, I married again from the Lu family. Before boarding the wedding sedan chair to the Prince Rui mansion, my mother held my hand and refused to let go. My father had a serious expression, while my elder brother stood behind me, silently being my support. They were worried that Alaric Xiao would be the next Edmund Xiao. Before the wedding, my mother said to me, in this world, women cannot afford to remain unmarried, but marriage is betting the rest of your life. You already lost the bet when you married into the Prince Ning mansion. How do you know Alaric Xiao will be any different? Mother, I have been having the same dream recently. In the dream, I was paralyzed in bed. The Lu family was framed and destroyed by Prince Ning, and when I died a tragic death, only one person gave me a proper burial and pleaded for the Lu family's innocence. That person was His Royal Highness Prince Rui. Only then did my mother feel more at ease. Before boarding the sedan chair, Alaric Xiao bowed solemnly and bid farewell to my family on my behalf. On the wedding night, Alaric Xiao knew that I had married him partly out of necessity and compromise, and took the initiative to say, "You don't have to worry. The Prince Rui mansion is quiet and spacious enough for you to be free. Just treat it as a separate courtyard of the Lu family. Live comfortably and unrestrainedly. If you are unwilling to be intimate with me, we can treat each other with respect after marriage. I will never cross the line." What was he rambling on about so seriously? I leaned forward and kissed him directly. Alaric Xiao's face instantly turned bright red, redder than the jujubes on the bed. "Your Highness, I truly want to be your wife." Alaric Xiao looked stunned. "When I was 6 years old, I fell into the water, and it was you who saved me, wasn't it?" Before being reborn, I had little interaction with Alaric Xiao. We had only met a few times at formal occasions like palace banquets, and never exchanged more than a few words. After being reborn, I learned from Imperial Physician Yi that Alaric Xiao's poor health was because he had jumped into an icy pond at the age of 8 to save a little girl. At that time, Edmund Xiao was on the shore. Alaric Xiao tried his best to lift the girl towards the shore, and Edmund Xiao took over to pull her out. After the girl was safely on shore, Alaric Xiao sank to the bottom of the pond from exhaustion. Edmund Xiao, who should have shouted for help immediately, stood dumbfounded on the shore as if frozen with fear. It wasn't until the guards noticed and jumped into the pond to save him that Alaric Xiao was almost at the bottom. Later, although Alaric Xiao narrowly escaped death, his health was damaged. He was afraid of the cold and remained weak, and that little girl back then was me. When I opened my eyes and woke up, Edmund Xiao was holding my face and saying, "I saved you. How will you repay me?" I had thanked the wrong person. It wasn't until before I died in my previous life. When I heard Alaric Xiao roar that he had saved my life for nothing, that I suddenly realized the truth. Alaric Xiao clearly didn't expect me to mention this. You just found out. Did he really think that I had always known he was the one who saved me, yet still clung to Edmund Xiao? You fool, how would I know if you didn't tell me? I scolded him just like he had scolded me in my previous life, unable to hold back my sobs. His Royal Highness Prince Rui, you risked half your life for me, but you never told me. Did you expect me to guess? I'm so stupid I didn't figure it out until it was far too late. I had to die once to finally smarten up. But Alaric Xiao in my previous life had truly been let down by me. It's my fault. Don't cry. He raised his hand to wipe the tears from the corners of my eyes, then gently stroked the scar on my neck. Suddenly, he turned around and took a box of ointment from under the pillow. We'll use this tonight. Me. I stared at the box of ointment, my face also turning as red as a jujube. I wasn't an inexperienced maiden, I knew exactly what ointment was used for on the wedding night. I just didn't expect Alaric Xiao to change the subject so quickly. I still had snot bubbles from crying, and he was already thinking about this. I'll apply it for you. Take off your outer robe. As Alaric Xiao spoke, he reached out to open the ointment. My eyes widened in shock. Your Highness, I never thought you were this kind of person. What kind of person? I just like people like you. I took off my outer robe, sat cross-legged on the wedding bed eagerly. Alaric Xiao dipped his index finger in the ointment and reached out to me. I was about to close my eyes and enjoy it when I felt the warm, gentle touch land on the scar on my neck. I opened my eyes suddenly. Alaric Xiao was carefully applying medicine to my scar. This is muscle-restoring ointment I had someone bring from Donghu. It can erase all scars. Girls always love beauty. How can you keep a scar? So that's what you're using it for, Your Highness, Alaric Xiao retorted. What did you think it was for? Nothing, nothing at all. Haha, oh my God, I wanted to find a crack in the ground to hide in. On the wedding night, His Royal Highness Prince Rui watched as his beloved princess consort, her face as red as a jujube, rolled back and forth on the bed, making the peanuts on the bed crunch under her weight. As I rolled around, I suddenly felt something hard. I reached into the quilt and pulled it out, another box of ointment. I held up the ointment and asked, "Is this also for scar removal?" This time it was Alaric Xiao's turn to blush. He coughed twice. No, it's not." We looked at each other, then suddenly burst into knowing laughter. I pulled him into the bed curtain. Tonight's top priority was to thoroughly explore the usage of the ointment. The next day, I didn't wake up until the sun was high in the sky. No one had woken me. When I got up, I almost strained my waist. I had thought Alaric Xiao was weak and that we would just do our best. Unexpectedly, he was quite vigorous where it mattered. Though His Royal Highness Prince Rui was presumably inexperienced, not knowing his own strength, I got up to wash up and heard Alaric Xiao practicing archery in the courtyard. I leaned against the window and stared at him foolishly for a while. His porcelain white skin glowed like jade gilded in the sun. The long bow in his hand moved nimbly and powerfully, every arrow hitting the target, though each arrow hit the bullseye. It was clear he was somewhat exhausted. His shots only had 70% of the usual lethal force. It took him 5 arrows to pierce through the bullseye. A healthy master archer could have pierced it with the first shot. In the end, he was limited by his weak constitution. His Royal Highness never practiced martial arts in the courtyard before. I suppose his shooting for the princess consort to see. His Royal Highness is mighty, the maids whispered loudly, almost directly saying Alaric Xiao was showing off for me. Your servant will help the princess consort get dressed and comb her hair. I sat down in front of the large, clear dressing mirror and immediately noticed that the scar on my neck had faded a lot. After what happened on the city wall, I had been rushing back and forth between the palace to get a divorce from Edmund Xiao, so busy plotting that I had never taken time to care for my scar. The arrow wound had been deep, leaving a raised scar after healing. Even my master had said it would take half a year to fade. But on the first day of marrying Alaric Xiao, he erased the ugliest scar on my body. So this was what it felt like to be loved, no need for me to risk my life. He willingly offered me the best of everything. After getting dressed, Alaric Xiao finished his archery practice. I wiped the thin sweat from his forehead, but he handed me the long bow. This bow is called Changfeng, long wind. It's exquisitely crafted and quite lethal. I made it myself. On that day at the city wall, Edmund Xiao injured you with a bow and arrow. Violet, you should hold both the bow and arrows in your own hands. Take control of your own life and death, instead of letting others choose for you. Do you understand? I was stunned. Apart from my parents, only Alaric Xiao would say such things to me. Alaric Xiao held my hand and guided it to grip the bow and arrow. Violet, you are the daughter of a military clan. How can you be trapped in the inner courtyard? Pick up your weapon. In my previous life, I had died in inner courtyard conflicts, lost in a war between two women over a man. Alaric Xiao erased the scar Edmund Xiao had left on me and reshaped the soul that Edmund Xiao had tamed. I took the Changfeng bow and also grabbed Alaric Xiao's wrist to feel his pulse. Though he was weak, he had never neglected his health. His cold constitution could be cured. I want His Royal Highness to live a long life, then accompany you to practice martial arts and make some noise together. Alaric Xiao was shocked for a moment, then firmly squeezed my hand and said, "Good." While I was living a sweet life in the Prince Rui mansion, I also heard a lot of gossip about the Prince Ning mansion. It was said that after Iris Song realized she would always be a slave, she became insecure and paranoid. During her pregnancy, she insisted that Edmund Xiao stay with her day and night. Considering the child in her belly, Edmund Xiao had no choice but to comply. But Edmund Xiao still wanted to marry a better woman as his princess consort. After what happened at the palace banquet, the noble families had all seen through Edmund Xiao. He was a heartless man who betrayed his first wife, not worth trusting. Marrying Edmund Xiao meant enduring his infidelity. His actions had already alienated most people, greatly reducing his chances in the fight for the throne, and his future was bleak. No prominent family was willing to send their carefully raised daughter into the fiery pit of the Prince Ning mansion. Meanwhile, after marrying me, Prince Rui Alaric Xiao's health improved significantly. He had been weak and taciturn before, but now he smiled every day, his eyes shining with such happiness that even the emperor's beloved noble consort noticed. Prince Rui had never competed for power before, but once he started, the favored noble consort was his greatest ally. The other day, I entered the palace and talked with the noble consort. We hit it off immediately, feeling like we had known each other for years. Anyone with eyes can see that Edmund Xiao has become half a discarded pawn. He is a vengeful man. He almost killed Alaric back then. Now he's fallen so low after divorcing you. Even though it's his own fault, he will definitely blame everything on you and hate you deeply. The noble consort said to Alaric Xiao, "I'm afraid Edmund Xiao won't let the Lu family off the hook. Alaric, protect your princess consort. Once, Mother told you to watch from the sidelines. Now, it's time for you to enter."
Than 10 years of plotting. Iris Song stared coldly at Edmund Xiao's back, so even that unwavering devotion at the moment of life and death had been mixed with Edmund Xiao's calculated weighing of interests. What affection could there possibly be left? Iris Song pulled out the hairpin from her hair, its tip shaped like a small knife. Gripping the body of the hairpin tightly, she stabbed fiercely at Edmund Xiao's back without hesitation. Edmund Xiao stumbled forward 2 steps from the blow. When he turned around, he was shocked to see that his attacker was actually Iris Song. He grabbed Iris Song's slender neck tightly. "Bitch, how dare you betray me too?" Iris Song's face turned bright red from being choked, but she smiled and said, "Edmund Xiao, a man like you deserves to die at anyone's hands." Edmund Xiao froze. "What do you know?" Iris Song didn't answer, only shed tears. Even when crying, she was still beautiful, but not a trace of pity remained in Edmund Xiao's eyes. Edmund Xiao smiled grimly. It's better that you know, saves me the trouble of pretending. He wanted to strangle Iris Song, to kill this stained criminal woman tied to him, but he also wanted the child in her belly. In the end, just before strangling her, he threw Iris Song to his guards, tie her up tightly and put her on the carriage. Lock her up when we reach Songlin, keep her locked until she gives birth. You still want the child. Iris Song suddenly let out a miserable laugh, then with shocking resolve and strength, pulled out a guard's sword. Amid Edmund Xiao's terrified roars, Iris Song stabbed the sword deeply into her swollen abdomen. The blow was so forceful that it must have split the formed fetus in two. Iris Song hated Edmund Xiao's bloodline, and hated herself even more, hated being deceived by her enemy, hated pretending to be sick and coquettish to please him, hated groveling like a slave, only to end up with nothing but a joke. Even in the underworld, she would be ashamed to face her own blood relatives. Edmund Xiao, to conceive this child, I even took medicine that harmed my body. Remember this, only I, Iris Song, would ever do this for you. But a man like you is not worthy of being loved at all. Now, I'm going to kill this child with my own hands. I'm going to make you die without heirs, just like my Song family did back then. She hated herself so much that she twisted the sword even deeper, piercing through the child and her own flesh and blood. Edmund Xiao held her, pressing his hands to the wound on her belly, and let out a loud wail. He wasn't crying for the woman who had once loved him, only for the son he had never met, the one who could carry on his lineage. No matter how deep the hairpin had struck, it was still just a hairpin. It missed his heart by 2 inches. Edmund Xiao didn't die, he fled to his fiefdom, wounded, having lost his only bloodline. He had long since gone mad. Once his wounds healed, he raised the flag of rebellion. Over the years, he had raised 50,000 private soldiers. Feeding such a large army required enormous amounts of gold and silver, so he embezzled disaster relief grain and frontline military pay from the court. Now that his crimes had been exposed, he could no longer afford to support his troops. He had to fight a quick battle. The emperor was so enraged that he fell ill. Alaric Xiao was appointed commander-in-chief, and I accompanied him to the battlefield. The rebel army marched to Qi Prefecture, the closest city to the imperial capital, where the final battle began. The two armies were evenly matched. Edmund Xiao and Alaric Xiao engaged in mortal combat. Edmund Xiao attacked with viciousness, as if harboring boundless hatred for Alaric Xiao. Why won't you die? You should have drowned in that icy pond years ago, lingering on for so long, stealing my throne and my woman. He punched at Alaric Xiao's vital point. Alaric Xiao dodged swiftly, then quickly twisted Edmund Xiao's wrist. There was a loud crack of breaking bone. Edmund Xiao let out a scream of agony. Alaric Xiao grabbed Edmund Xiao by the neck. Do you deserve any of this? You're merely getting what's rightfully mine. These words enraged Edmund Xiao. He erupted in a final desperate counterattack, creating a distorted stalemate where they held each other hostage. Alaric Xiao choked Edmund Xiao's throat, while Edmund Xiao clutched Alaric Xiao's vital point. The power to decide who lived and who died fell into my hands. Holding the bow and arrow, I raised the Changfeng bow, aiming the arrow at Alaric Xiao. Edmund Xiao overjoyed. Violet, you still love me after all. I knew it, you've always loved me. I was wrong before. Kill Alaric Xiao for me. Once I seize the throne, I'll make you my only empress. Before he could finish his confession, a sharp arrow pierced straight through his neck. I had aimed at Alaric Xiao only as a feint, to make Edmund Xiao let his guard down so I could kill him. Edmund Xiao's words were choked off by the gush of blood surging up his throat. He stared at me in disbelief. Edmund Xiao, this arrow repays the one you shot me on the city wall. Edmund Xiao coughed up blood relentlessly, but asked unwillingly, why choose him over me? I gripped the long bow tightly, so this was what it felt like to hold life and death in my own hands. It was exhilarating. You never chose me without hesitation. How dare you ask me to choose you? I coldly drew the Changfeng bow again. This time, the arrow was aimed directly at Edmund Xiao's temple. Edmund Xiao, you're standing in my husband's way. Farewell. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. The sharp arrow pierced through Edmund Xiao's temple. This shot, I had rehearsed countless times in my mind while lying paralyzed in bed in my previous life. Edmund Xiao died a gruesome death on the battlefield. The rebel army surrendered one after another. For suppressing the rebellion, Alaric Xiao was named crown prince by the emperor. A year later, the emperor abdicated to become supreme emperor, and Alaric Xiao ascended the throne smoothly. I was conferred the title of empress. He refused to take any concubines, claiming he was too weak to handle the demands of the bedroom. No one knew who was the one clinging to me every night, asking for just one more time, as strong as an ox, yet still pretending to be delicate in my arms, saying he was too exhausted and needing me to take the initiative. In the first year of his reign, I gave birth to a pair of twins for Alaric Xiao, a son and a daughter. The two children were innocent and lovely, but they had inherited my lively temperament, always full of mischief. Alaric Xiao often sent Lina and Zhaoa to stay with the Empress Dowager and Supreme Emperor, stealing a few moments of leisure with me. I often thought about how Alaric Xiao had lived in my previous life, how lonely and isolated he must have been. I could only compensate him doubly in this life. Sincere love is rare in this world. It took me dying once to finally have a choice. Missing out on one lifetime led to a lifetime of mutual love and companionship in this one. Fortunately, the hardships were worth it. Violet Lu. For the rest of your life, every day will be bright and full of joy. The end.